Here's our stable genius.
We want to work with you to really recognize the changing climate and what it means to our forests and actually work together with that science. That science is going to be key, because if we ignore that science and sort of put our head in the sand and think it's all about vegetation management, we're not going to succeed together protecting Californians.
Okay. It'll start getting cooler. You just watch.
I wish science agreed with you.
Hey, well, I don't think science knows, actually.
I mean, vegetation management. In his case, that would be managing him. He's a vegetable, everybody. Brett had a good point. He said, you know what, Donald Trump's always trying to, sell you a car. He's always the car salesman. He's always trying to say, this is the better electricity. This is drier. This is less itchy electricity. You want this. You want, gas. It looks better. It drives better. It sounds better. It smells better. It feels better. I mean, it's just like, and it's all a distraction, right? It doesn't matter what he says. The whole thing about Greenland and the Panama Canal and all this is, he's just very comfortable bullying the world. And no one knows if he's serious, because the last time he started bullying the world and bullying American citizens, you remember this, okay? Some of it actually turned into just abject violence with eye gouging and human crushing and, defecating in the hallways. And there are some Americans that are just fine if the right person cops a squat in the Capitol and takes a dump. There are people in this country that don't have a problem with that. I ain't one of them. That's my capital too, okay? And the idea that somebody would do that and get away with it, it's sickening. So some of it turned into violence, but only at the very end. Up until then, we never knew how serious he was. Do you know why? Because as they like to tell us about him, there were guardrails. There were people in there that were willing to, stop him from doing things like, remember when he wanted to clear Lafayette Square so he could walk to the church and hold a Bible upside down that he took out of Ivanka's $5,000 purse because, he believes that the meek shall inherit the earth. Yeah, I mean, honestly. But he wanted to shoot protesters. There were protesters in the park. And that's why he wasn't able to walk in this unobstructed manner that he envisioned, the emperor should be able to walk through his park that way. It's his park. Lafayette Square Park is his. Belongs to him. He's the president. And so he wanted to shoot people in the leg to get them out of his way. And we had a Secretary of Defense, we had a Joint Chiefs, we had Milley, we had Esper, and they said to him, sir, you cannot shoot Americans. And he was like, well, not even in the leg. No, not even in the leg, okay? So we don't know if all this was hot air and bullying and bloviating, as, his best buddy, over there with the loofah likes to say, Bill O'Reilly. We don't know how serious a guy he is. And people around the world don't know how serious he is. I will tell you that the people who need to know how serious he is, who need to know whether or not he's bluffing, who need to know whether or not he's really threatening all-out nuclear war in the Middle East when he says, if those hostages aren't home by the time I'm sworn in, all hell will break loose in the Middle East. And the reporter said, what do you mean by it? He goes, do I have to define it for you? Do I? You know what he's talking about. He's talking about, ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads on them. I don't know if he's talking about ballistic or tactical or, whatever, but this is what he's thinking. And we don't know if he's ever threatened all-out nuclear war before, because we had people in there who were, quote, the adults in the room. And I don't know why. The price of eggs, was that it for you? Or was it that you really, 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 really believe we need to have Greenland as a territory? Was that your motivation? Because I don't think so. That's all he'll talk about now. Is dry electricity, itchy electricity, and bad toilets and bad. We're back to this. All is a major distraction, because you know what that press conference was yesterday? That was him taking a $20 billion, I'll just say pledge, because it's so interesting how, these Japanese billionaires and UAE billionaires, it's just so interesting how these Emirati, guys, their money never shows up. Do you know what I mean? It never shows up. And, Al Pacino would make sure it showed up. Hyman Roth would make sure it showed up. And if it's not there in the morning, he'll know he doesn't have a partner. If it's there, he'll know he has a partner. And if it's not there, he'll know he don't. So who knows? But that was his answer about, that was 2020, by the way. It was not that long ago. You understand? This was like the end of his first, I don't know what to call it, insult, his first insult to the United States by saying he was our leader. I mean, how insulting to all of us, really. How insulting to anybody who works really hard, tries to raise their kids, let alone people who, suit up and serve. Damn, it's an insult. But this was 2018 when they had the campfire. Okay, this was his advice. This is it.
There's been a lot of study going on over the last little while, and I will say I think you're going to have. Hopefully, this is going to be the last of these, because this was a really, really bad one. And I know Gavin's committed. We're all committed. I'm committed to make sure that we get all of this cleaned out and protected. Got to take care of the floors, the floors of the forests, very important. You look at other countries where they do it differently, and it's a whole different story. I was with the president of Finland, and he said, we have a much different, we're a forest nation. He called it a forest nation. And they spend a lot of time on raking and cleaning and doing things, and they don't have any problem. And when it is, it's a very small problem. So, I know everybody's looking at that, to that end, and it's going to work out well.
We're in such deep crap, okay? And he's gonna stand on stages and he's gonna say stupid things, hoping that the press covers the stupid thing and not the real issue, not the real trouble, not the real problem. If you think that he has any ability, interest in, or know-how regarding getting down the price of rent or groceries, you're insane. Okay, you need to be managed just like vegetation.